Hey guys, Daniel Wyatt and Jonathan Wyatt back again here with In His Hands Contractors. We wanted to discuss a little bit today on the topic of the other components of your house as far as siding, insulation, windows, doors, those sort of things, and how they tie in with the roof. So look forward to sharing some of that with y'all. Our professionals here at In His Hands Contractors are very skilled in that aspect, in the way that we know how those different components work together. There's a lot of different things that you want to look out for, such as one of few different examples is you want to make sure that your windows are not set too low to the roof line so that your new roofing material is interfering with your windows. Creates a big problem and creates a potential problem for the roof to leak the rest of your life or the windows to leak. So there's an example right there. Another one is the type of ventilation that you go with. If you go with the spray foam insulation, there's no need to add a ridge vent up at the top. In fact, you don't want to add a ridge vent up at the top. There's another little example right there, and there's all kinds of those there, that are very similar to that, where just a bunch of things that you want to look out for. So whenever you go to select a roofing contractor to handle your roof, whether it be a new construction or a rehab, make sure that you get a licensed, bonded, insured company, but not just have the credentials in that way. Make sure they're a knowledgeable contractor and the fact that they know how these components work together. They know the best way to do it. They know what priority they come in. Does the siding go first? Does the windows go first? Does the roof go first? Make sure that you get somebody that's very knowledgeable in that aspect.
So I'm Jonathan Wyatt with In His Hands Contractors, and I want to tell you a little bit about why you should do a new gutter install whenever you're doing a full roof replacement. So one of the key components to building a new roof is drip edge. For you guys that don't know what drip edge is, it is a metal component that goes underneath of the shingles and goes over top of the fascia board and actually counters the gutter to make sure the water coming off of the edge of the eave drips into your gutters or runs into your gutters and then off of the roof into the downspouts away from the home. So with that being said, if you do not put new gutters on with a new roof, you actually have to snip your drip edge around the gutter brackets, which then causes water infiltration in them areas, which in turn rots your fascia board out, your soffit, and could work into your exterior walls on the interior of your home. So that's the first reasoning. The second reasoning is if you're going with a new roof, if you choose to go with metal or shingles, typically you're putting a new roof on because the roof is at the end of its life, which means it's going to be at least 15 plus years old. 15 years ago, they didn't have, or wasn't really popular to have 6-inch gutters. They did 5-inch gutters. So that actually means that your gutters are a substantially smaller, which does not hold enough water, which then your water will either run over your gutters or fill up in your gutters and run behind your fascia boards, which is going to cause the same exact problem. You're going to have water infiltration behind the gutters, which is going to rot your fascia board out, and it's going to rot your soffit out or damage your soffit in whatever area. So that's just a couple of reasonings why you should do new gutters when you're doing a full roof replacement.
Okay, so as I'd mentioned previously, there's a lot of different components of your house that tie in with your roof, and the one I want to address right now is your siding and how it relates with your roofing. So one of the easiest ways to know if somebody knows what they're doing or not and is familiar with all the other components of your house, not just roofing, felt paper, step flash. Now that's good if a roofer knows how to do all those things. That means, usually if they're very knowledgeable in that field, they're usually going to do a very good job. But when it comes to all of the other components tying in, for instance, a siding install. If you have a roofer that knows nothing about siding install, there's going to be some major things that get overlooked right there. So one of the things that you want to look for when you're looking for a roofing contractor is make sure that they have a general contractor's license, which just says this right here. It simply says they know about every aspect of the home and how it works and the functionality of it and the purpose for it and how it's supposed to coordinate together. So there's a few different ways that you can actually do the roof and the siding together. I'll give you an example of a new roof install on a new construction home, and then one with the rehab where you're actually just doing a roof with the old existing siding staying on. So starting out with the new construction, a popular way that we like to do it here at In His Hands Contractors, again, kind of, mentioning this briefly, is we actually provide a 10-year written labor warranty with all the work that we do. So it's going to be in our best interest as well as yours to make sure that this project is done right from the start and to make sure that we're doing it in the best way possible. So one way that we found that is one of the best way, the best way that we found to do a new roof siding install as it relates with your roof install is to do this right here. You have sections of a roof. Most of the time you either have a front porch or you'll have a wraparound porch, whatever the case is, where you have a lower section of your roof that ties into a wall area of your house. When that happens, if you just have a roof contractor come out and put your roof on, now you're going to have your siding guys that are going to be walking and setting up scaffolding all over top of your new roof, which just, goes without saying, it's going to be damaged in the process. So how we like to handle that in that situation is we like for the siding guys to come in first, and of course we coordinate our schedules with the siding contractor, have them come in first, they run their siding up with leaving out the first couple rows of siding. Once they're done, they've got the majority of their work done. That allows us room to come in with no obstructions in our way. We're able to install a quality roof, install the flashings how they need to, be able to put them on the sheathing so that they'll run up behind the siding the appropriate height. At that point, once we get finished up, the siding contractors can come back in there, and once they're working on top of the roof, they don't need there's no need for scaffolding or anything of that nature. They're only putting up 1 or 2 runs of siding, which can be done very easily, carefully, without no damage to your siding or your roof. That's the first way that I wanted to just address as far as a new construction goes.
So again, I want to hit on the second aspect of siding and how it relates to your roof and on a remodel job versus a new construction. So the first thing that we're going to do when we put the roof on is we're going to inspect and make sure that we got everything lined up. And the first thing that I'm going to do as a sales representative is I'm going to see where the siding is butting up against the roof, and I want to see what application we need to use. Typically on a remodel job, what we will do where the siding is actually running up against the roof, typically what we will do is actually chalk a 3 or 4 inches all the way around the perimeter of either if it's a head wall that we're working around or a dormer that we're working around. And what that will allow us to do is that will allow us to come and put our in-wall metal or our step flashing up against the head wall or in wall, and then what we can do is counter that with either we call it a freeze board. We can either do a wood freeze board and do a drip cap over top of that, which gives it a good, nice, seamless look, or we can do a hardy board finish, which is not going to rot in the event that it is laying on top of the roof. Of course, we want to keep a 1/4 inch gap between the roof just for water flow, things like that, but those are the two different ways that we can run that. So that's kind of how we would do it on a remodel from that siding meeting the roof. So thanks for stopping by, guys, and make sure and stay tuned for more content, and we'll look for you in the future.